This is Barry Zalma, speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today, we're going to speak about what happens when you're guilty of workers' compensation fraud and why inflating an on-the-job injury is itself fraud. Faking the need for a walker, for example, is simply workers' compensation fraud. A jury found Waliullah Nazari guilty of 2 counts of making false and fraudulent statements for the purpose of obtaining workers' compensation benefits and 7 counts of attempted perjury under oath. In the People versus Waliullah Nazari, the California Court of Appeals on July 18, 2021, affirmed his conviction because surveillance proved that Nazari had lied to his physician and to his insurer seeking to inflate his workers' compensation benefits. In January of 2019, Nazari fell off a ladder at work, rendering him unconscious. Hospital records indicated he suffered a broad-based disc herniation between vertebrae 4 and 5, with resulting bilateral lateral recess stenosis and sciatica. Nazari submitted a workers' compensation claim to Liberty Mutual Insurance and received benefits between January 5 and July 19, totaling $99,656.96. Nazari's treating physician recommended he receive an epidural steroid injection, but Nazari's insurance company declined coverage. Nazari saw an orthopedic surgeon for a second opinion about his need for the injection. Among other things, Nazari told the orthopedic surgeon that he needed a walker to stand and could not walk without using a walker. After a physical examination, the orthopedic surgeon recommended that Nazari receive the injection and follow up with his treating physician. But on April 11, a private investigator working for Liberty Mutual conducted a recorded surveillance session and saw Nazari enter his car and drive away. He saw Nazari return to the car, exit the car, and walk without using a walker and with a normal gait. Later the same day, he saw Nazari walk unassisted to a car, remove a folding aluminum walker from the trunk, assemble the walker, and then carry the walker out of view. A few minutes later, he observed Nazari walking slowly with the walker for support to a medical transport van, where the driver assisted him into the van. When the van returned to the residence, the investigator watched as Nazari used the walker to slowly ambulate up the driveway and out of view. Nazari was later videotaped carrying a small child in his arms, assisting the child into a vehicle and driving away. Liberty Mutual, after that investigation, deposed Nazari during the time between the video surveillance sessions and saw conditions different than those shown during surveillance. During his second deposition, Nazari claimed, among other things, that he was unable to carry his child and could not drive because he used a walker, all of which the lawyers for Liberty knew were false because of their viewing of the surveillance. Liberty Mutual closed the investigation and, as required by California statute and regulations, reported the matter to the local district attorney's office and the California Department of Insurance as a suspected insurance fraud. The People agreed, and arrested and tried Nazari, alleging that Nazari falsely or fraudulently told the orthopedic surgeon on April 1 that he could not walk without a walker, and he could not stand without the walker. To determine the sufficiency of the evidence that was asked by Nazari's appeal, courts review the entire record in the light most favorable to the prosecution to determine whether it contains evidence that is reasonable, credible, and of solid value for which a rational trier of fact could find that the elements of the crime were established beyond a reasonable doubt. Nazari contended that the sub rosa videos of him walking and standing without the use of a walker after his April 1 visit do not show the falsity of his statements on April 1 because the orthopedic surgeon observed symptoms consistent with a back injury, and he presumably received relief from an epidural injection. However, there was no evidence in the record to support Nazari's contention. He received an epidural injection before he was subject to surveillance. Second, the orthopedic surgeon relied on Nazari being truthful when forming his conclusions of the need for the epidural. Surveillance video taken on 4 subsequent dates showed Nazari walking normally and standing without the assistance of a walker. On 2 occasions, Nazari walked without the walker, and then minutes later, he required the assistance of a walker when transportation arrived to pick him up to go to the doctor. From the videos, the jury could reasonably conclude Nazari misrepresented his pain level, faked reliance on the walker during his physical examination, and falsely told the orthopedic surgeon that he required a walker to stand or walk. The Court of Appeals concluded that the jury reasonably concluded that Nazari's statements to the orthopedic surgeon were made for the purpose of obtaining workers' compensation benefits. Accordingly, substantial evidence supported Nazari's 2 convictions for workers' compensation fraud under Section 1871.4 of the California Insurance Code. In my opinion, regardless of the fact that the trial court suspended imposition of sentence and placed Nazari on probation for 2 years, sentenced him to 365 days in jail as a condition of probation, stayed the jail time pending successful completion of probation, and ordered him to pay restitution totaling $53,879.44 and $100 a month, he filed this spurious appeal. People, in my experience, who commit fraud are astounded that they did not succeed and have gained enough from their crime to pursue, as did Mr. Nazari, a spurious appeal. The Court of Appeals should have reversed the sentence and made him spend the full 365 days in jail. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. You can subscribe and you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5, sometimes 6 a week, and you'll also gain access to the more than 4,800 blog postings. You can also subscribe to the videos, which are also free and available on rumble.com or youtube.com or both. And if you do, I'd appreciate it if you click on the like button on YouTube and the thumbs up button on rumble.com. Please tell your friends and colleagues about the blog and the videos so that they too can subscribe. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance fraud, and insurance law, Please, for a very small fee, subscribe to my Substack publication. Thank you for your attention.